Okay, it's about that time for the daily coding problem. I don't make up these problems. I just went to a website, I Googled it. It's called dailyprogrammingproblem.com, I think. Pretty sure that's it. I'll edit this video if that's not it. And you get an email every day with a problem, just like a programming problem. A lot of them, this is my first email. I just signed up yesterday, so a lot of them seem to be focused on like something you might see at Amazon or Google or something like that. So, you know, sorting, searching, graphs, other weird things, bunch of stuff that you never actually need to use because most languages nowadays have everything you need built in. But it's kind of fun to work through these, and I suck so bad at them that I'm using this as an opportunity to get better. So what this is me working on one of those problems, and I might keep doing these on a daily basis, just doing it live. And that way it kind of simulates an interview where I have a limited amount of time. In fact, I'll start my stopwatch now. And so now it's going. And I have 1 hour to complete these problems. And if I don't finish, that's okay. But the goal is to finish within an hour. And because I'm recording this and you're kind of pairing with me, it's a little bit more realistic. Like, I feel nervous right now, even though I'm not doing anything. But yeah, let's get over and take a look at the problem I just got in today. Yeah, so give me just 1 second to get this mic out of my face so I could see my screen. Okay, perfect. All right. So here it is. Let's take a look at this problem. There's a staircase with n steps, and you can climb 1 or 2 steps at a time. So it sounds like a normal staircase to me. Given n, the number of stairs, write a function that returns the number of unique ways you can climb the staircase. The order of the steps matter. For example, if n is 4, then there are 5 unique ways. And then they list out the ways, so we could do all the steps individually, or we can do the first 2 individually, then jump to the very top, or 1, 2, 1, 2, etc. I'm not going to read all these out. So great, we know what we want to end up with. And then at the bottom, this is like a stretch goal. Like if this was an interview, maybe, 30 minutes in or whatever, we might get to this part. Let's go ahead and read it. What if, instead of being able to climb 1 or 2 steps at a time, you could climb any number from a set of positive integers x? For example, if x equals 1, 3, and 5, you could climb 1, 3, or 5 steps at a time. Generalize your function to take in x. Okay, cool. So let's just ignore that part for now. Let's solve this top part, which is just 1 or 2 steps at a time. And yeah, so let's get started. So I'll clear my screen. Let's open up a nice fresh Vim. Now, usually I like to start with testing, not because I'm like a TDD fanatic, even though I am, but I like to pretend like I'm not, just because I feel like it has a stigma these days. But I like it because we got to run our code anyway, right? That's how we know it works. So we might as well run it with a test. So let's start by writing a test. So I'm going to open up a file. We're going to call this staircase. That makes sense, I suppose. So I'll call this staircase test.rb. And now we need to require some stuff that's going to let us actually run tests. So we'll do mini test auto run. And then I'm also going to do mini test pride. So auto run runs our tests automatically. Pride gives us color output on those tests. And then we actually are going to be testing a file, right? So we need to include that as well. So I'll do require relative, which is relative to this test file, and I will include staircase. This file doesn't exist yet, but the code that we're going to be testing will live in there. So let's start describing what we want to see. So we got an extra line here. Let's remove it. So describe staircase. Describe geez, there we go. What do we want to call this method that returns all these permutations? Let's Let's just call it options. So these are the options for our staircase, the ways that we can walk up it. And what does it do? It returns all the options for getting up the staircase. Let's be explicit here. For walking up the staircase, we don't need flying options or things like that. Cool. So let's write our test now. Something I like to do is add a subject. Let's just save some typing later. I actually don't know if this is going to save. This might be adding typing because I don't think we need more than one test in here. Well, let's just do it. It's easy. So subject is the thing that's going to be under test. So let's go ahead and copy what we had in our README, which is in our problem description, which is a staircase with 4 steps. So our subject is a staircase with 4 steps. And then we want to call options on that and assert that we get back that set that was provided. So let's go back to our README. Let's go ahead and copy these and paste them in. And then now we're going to need to make these arrays. That looks good. Make these arrays as well. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's our 5 got an extra comma here. So there's our 5 options that we expect to get back. Great. So let's run our code, and obviously this is going to fail because we haven't even created a file yet, which is what we got. Great. Cannot load such file staircase. So let's create our file. Staircase.rb. Now I'm going to go ahead and create the class too. Jump the gun a little bit there. Okay, so now the tests are in the bottom, by the way, if you don't see them. So now it is telling us that our constructor doesn't take in the arguments that we're passing. So let's fix that. Initialize. It's going to take some steps, and we should save those steps. And then let's make those steps readable later as well. Adder reader steps. And I'm making it private just because we don't have a use for making this public yet. Easier just to make stuff private at first and make it public if you really need it. Okay, so we ran our tests again. Now it's telling us we don't have our options method, which is excellent. That's what we expect. And we'll run it one more time, and look at that. Just like we expect, we are returning nil when we should be returning all of these options. Sweet. So now's the tough part. Now we actually have to think how to solve this. So my gut here wants to go with a super inefficient solution first. And maybe that's as far as we get because maybe efficiency doesn't matter, right? I mean, geez, who cares? We're already using Ruby, right? Obviously, we don't care about efficiency. But the other cool thing about Ruby is it has a lot of helpers that we can use. So there's not, Ruby doesn't have a method that we can use that is going to make our test pass directly, but there's probably a lot of methods that Ruby provides that'll make solving this question a lot easier than in some other languages. And we can use whatever is at our disposal, right? So the end goal is just to get this result back. It doesn't matter how we do it. I don't care how efficient it is. If down the line it needs to be more efficient, great. Then we can spend the time trying to figure that out. But for now, I don't give a crap about that. So I just want this to work. So my gut tells me to just create an array of all possible permutations of 1 and 2 up to the size of our staircase, which in this case is 4. And then remove everything in that array that does not add up to the number. Yeah, so I don't know if I said that clearly, but basically create an array of every possible permutation. So there's going to be a bunch in there that aren't even valid. And then we select from those only the ones whose values add up to the number of steps. So in this case, we'll create an array of all possible permutations and only select from those the number that, only select from those the items that add up to 4, and then return that. So and we might sort it too, just because that way we can actually tell what order it's going to come back in. Otherwise, who knows, right? Who knows? Okay, so how do we do that? I'm pretty sure Ruby has a permutations method. Like I said, this isn't cheating here, people. Ruby array permutations. We have the internet at our disposal. Okay. Yes. Yes. Let's make this way bigger so that you can read it. Way bigger. Boop, boop. Boop. Okay. Permutation. When invoked with a block, yield all permutations of length n of the elements of the array, then return the array itself. Blah, 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 blah. So we can pass in an array, call permutation on it, and then the size, and then it will return all permutations. Okay, let's fiddle with this and see if we can do this. So I want to take steps. This is our number of steps times what I'm trying to create here is I'm trying to create an array that looks like, I'm trying to create an array that has all the numbers that we're going to need for our permutations. So I want it to look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then from this, I'm going to call permutation of 1, permutation of 2, permutation of 3, permutation of 4. Right? And then add all those together. And then take that whole thing. I guess no, this isn't going to work for all cases. Okay, and then I take all of those things. This is going to be my giant array of permutations now. And then I select this will be a single result, and I select only the results whose sum, there we go, is equal to steps, and then I sort those. So that's basically what I want to do. In fact, let me try running this. That did not work. What did that give me? Whoa. That gave me, okay, so look at all these results I'm getting back. That's a lot of results. So I have some duplicates in there, I think. I have some duplicates. So let's do unique.sort. Yay! Okay. Okay, well, it passes now, right? So notice it says fabulous run. That's why I wanted to use the pride thing. Yeah, it's fun. Okay, so this passes, but the problem here with what I've just written is this is not going to work if we provide anything other than n of 4, right? So, I don't know. Let's just add another test. Let's add another test, so we have to change our code. How about that? Returns all the options for walking up a staircase. Turns all the options for walking up 4 stairs. Cool. Now my subject thing doesn't make sense. Sorry, let's remove it. Cool. Let's run this again just to make sure I didn't break something. Great, it still passes. So now let's just add another test. So I'm gonna go down to 10, yank, 10 down, paste, up. Returns all the options for walking up 3 stairs. So what happens if we have 3 stairs? That means we're gonna have 1, 1, 1, and 1, 2, and 2, 2, 1. Is there any other combos? Let's just run this and see what happens. Oh, actually that worked. Huh. So this passes too. So I'm guessing it's because we've got enough numbers here. Oh, interesting. It passes because of this, because we're removing all the extra crap. Okay, so I think in order to break this, I'm gonna actually have to use a larger number. Right? Because this array here of 1s and 2s will work for anything with 4 or less values. So if I make 5 steps, that would require an extra 2 and an extra 1, I think, to get all the permutations. So let's do 5. This kind of sucks because now I'm gonna... You know what? I don't want to write this out. I don't want to do this. Okay, so we've got 2 test cases now. Let's generalize this over here now, and if both of these pass, then we know that our generalization is good. I don't really need a 3rd test to do that. Okay, so how would I do this generally? So what I want is I want steps number of 1s and steps number of 2s. So let's open up an IRB real quick. So if I have 1 times 3, what does that give me? Dude, that's exactly what I want. Okay. So steps times 1. And we also need steps times 2. So that gives me 2 arrays. And then I can add those together. And then let's call this, what do we want to call this? These are, shoot, I don't know what these are. Numbers? That's such a bad variable name. Steps? No. Steps is bad. Let's call them options. And then, yeah, actually, then I can effectively come in here and get rid of these. And these are now options. I'm gonna run this real quick. Oh, that does not pass. I made a mistake. Something's going in. Array can't be coerced into integer. Let's just make sure we're not doing something funky here. Order of operations, you never know. Okay, that still doesn't work. I'm gonna go into IRB real quick. Make sure that I'm doing this right. So if we go this times 2 plus 2 times 2. Okay, that's giving me what I want. That is giving me what I want. And just to make sure, let's debug. Oh, oops. It cares about the order here, which totally makes sense, right? So integer doesn't have a multiplication method that accepts an array, but array has a multiplication method that accepts an integer. Run it again. All right, now we're passing. Okay, so this still doesn't work because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 hard coded in here. So now let's do steps dot inject no. Let's just do a map. Is there a map with index, I wonder? Because we want that number, right? So let's okay, hold on. Back to inject. Inject with index. So I'm gonna iterate over each of them. I'm using inject so that I can add them as we go. And I'm using with index so that I can pass that in here. So we have inject with index do. And that's gonna take our sum. Items. And I. And now, what are we injecting? An empty array. Items. Push. No. Plus. Options. Permutations. I plus 1. I think that's supposed to be that bit. Running our tests again. Womp womp. Fails. Huh. Inject with index is not a thing. Okay, well. Is a map with index a thing? Check out our good old enumerator. Okay, well, all we got is each with index. Guess I can't be too clever. Each with index. Do. Rename this to permutations, create an options, which is an empty array. Steps.each with index, item I. And now we'll do options plus equals permutations dot permutations I plus 1. Then options. Does this one pass? Uh-oh. Undefined method each with index for integer. Oh, right. Steps. 0 to steps. Oh, sweet. Now I can use inject again. Sorry, I keep going back and forth, but this is fun. Okay, so 0 to steps dot inject do options I. And now options So 0 to steps. And I might need to call to array on this. Okay. Let's double check. 0 to 5. That gives me a range. 2A. Okay. This needs to be wrapped in parentheses. Okay. Cool. What if I do 1? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's do that instead. So let's do 1 to steps, 2 array, and then we'll collect them into that and add them up. Options plus permutations. Dot permutations I plus 1. We just need I now. And what do we got down here? Undefined method permutations for array. Alrighty. Undefined method per... Did I spell something wrong here? Oh, it's singular. No, it's not singular. Shoot. No implicit conversion of a numerator. Into array. No implicit conversion of a numerator into array. It's line 13. I see. I see. And then we're injecting. And then let's hop in our first iteration and see what we got here. We've got options, which is our array. We've got I, which is a 1. We've got permutations. Let's go ahead and copy this line and run it. Okay. Let's go back to the docs for this bad boy here. Here it is, array. Permutation. Okay, so it is singular. Okay. Oh, it doesn't return an array. Got it. Okay. That's the issue we're having. So we want a 2A on that bad boy. Excellent. Let's get out of there. Let's come back into here. So it is permutation and it's an array. That goes away. All right, now we're passing again. Cool. So this works now. So this should work for all n. Sweet. So how do we want to clean this up? Do I care about this? Do I want to clean this up? I don't know. Could be cleaned up. Let's move on to part 2 first, and then we'll clean it up after that. So what is part 2? Let's close our pane down here. We're 28 minutes in, so we got some time. What if, instead of being able to climb 1 or 2 steps at a time, you can climb any number from a set of positive integers x? 1, 3, 5, blah, blah, blah. Generalize your function to take in x. Okay. Okay, so same thing, except now instead of 1 and 2, we can pass in an array of the step options. So let's open up our test. Add a test for that. Return all options for returns all the option, blah, blah, blah. It allows... It allows step options to be provided. Okay, well. And let's go ahead and just copy the scenario for 3. Let's do 4. Steps is 4. Options is going to be 1, 3, and 2. And 4? Why not, right? Let's make it complicated. So we still get all of these. But now let's make it less complicated. I don't want to type so many options. Okay, so now we also have the option of 4. Okay, let's make it more complicated. I'm going to remove the 1. So we have 2, 2, and 4. Sure, let's go with that. It's easy to type. That's why I'm doing it. It's easy to type. Okay, so 2, 2, and 4. Sweet. Let's run our test. It's failing because our constructor does not take this new option. This is not a required parameter. So let's just default it to 1 and 2. So it continues to work with our first tests. Again, we'll make it readable. Great. Run our test again. Oh, of course. I gave it the same name as my method. Great, we can fix this. Step, and these are going to be what did we call it in the README? What did we call it in the README? Did we call this something in the README? I'm going to call this steps. I'm going to call and rename this steps to height. It's going to be height of the staircase. Perfect. And then I will call this steps. I like that. So then now we have lots of usages of steps here. So let's change this to height. Good, 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 good. Okay. Then change that to steps, steps, steps. No, no, no. Yes. Okay, let's run our tests. Okay, we have 1 failure. So perfect. That's exactly what we expect. All our initial stuff still passes. And you could see that the result we're getting back is assuming 1 and 2. So let's make this work. Let's make this work. So now we basically have 1 to steps. No, Steps.map. And then we can put this in there. This is going to be step now times height. Dot join? Can I join arrays like that? 1, 2, 3. Dot join. 1, 2, 3. Nope, that's not what I want to do. Flatten is what I want to do. Let's run it, see what happens. Hey! Sweet. So we finished. Cool. Well, it's 35 minutes in, that's probably plenty. Yeah. And this mic is like really difficult to use. Anyways, that's it. I'll probably get another one of those tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that, and I'll try publishing these on a somewhat regular basis, unless nobody watches them, and then I'll stop publishing them. But at least this dedicated time and recording myself is nice for me, because it feels more like an interview, and I don't spend 5 hours working on the problem. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.